This is the fifth and final installment of my review of the 5 higher order capabilities of human-centered leadership. Number 5 is communicating with transparency. My name is Mariana. I'm a first-generation professional and certified leadership coach, helping other first-gen pros and 21st century leaders navigate complex career environments. Quick reminder that if you've been following along on the series and want to know more about my research on human-centered leadership, I contributed a chapter about the relationship between human-centered leadership and innovation to this book, Brilliant Leadership from Routledge Press, and it's currently available at your favorite bookseller. Now, human-centered leaders humanize themselves by communicating with transparency. So why does it seem to be the number one challenge for leaders in the workplace? There are a few reasons. A lot of it has to do with traditional workplace leadership norms. Stoic gravitas is still rewarded as an aspirational leadership attribute in many cultures and is indicative of a transactional approach. All business, nothing personal. Being perceived as unemotional at all times has historically been conflated with an authoritative presence. Couple that with the unwritten rule that leaders should feel the need to communicate less the higher up they go, and it's no wonder that poor communication or lack of communication is regularly cited as the number one roadblock for leaders and teams. Developing emotional intelligence instead of suppressing it is the key difference here. Communicating with transparency requires authenticity, which requires a level of vulnerability. Human-centered leaders understand that thoughts and feelings are merely data sets that provide important context to inform our motives, behaviors, and perspectives. Taking time to get clear on your true intentions and motives is an act of professional maturity. And this insight is what will enable you to engage in even very difficult conversations with care, calm, and confidence. Now, understandably, as a leader, you often find yourself privy to confidential information that isn't really yours to share. Communicating with transparency does not mean that you violate confidences. It simply means you are consistently intentional, earnest, and forthcoming about information you are empowered to share, and you do your best within reason to remove any ambiguity that is causing unnecessary stress, concern, or anxiety for your team. How human-centered leaders do it differently is by not making assumptions. They stay curious, they ask lots of questions, and most importantly, they listen actively and without judgment when others are speaking. Most people think leadership means you get to hold the mic most of the time. Human-centered leaders prefer to pass the mic around and speak last after actively listening without judgment to other perspectives. It's much easier to communicate with transparency when you practice receiving what others have to say before formulating a response. There are so many finer points I could cover on this and the other higher order capabilities, so I'll be continuing the conversation after the new year. But I am taking next week off for the holidays. So if TikTok is still here in January, I'll see you then. Otherwise, look for my YouTube channel to launch the week of January 5th. Please follow me here and subscribe there. And thank you for joining me on this journey. I'll see you in 2025.